Welcome to Women of the Wild,
where education and opportunities are key,
and friendships are made to last a lifetime.
Did you get him?
You think we got him? You think we got him? We got him.
All right, Skylar, what do we got here?
We've got a nice looking rip-off.
Oh, there she is. Woo! You dropped our gray ghost.
Give me a hug.
Welcome back to Season 2 Women of the Wild podcast. We would like to first start off by thanking our title sponsors for the 2024 year. Atlantic Coral Enterprise, one of the largest import dealers in the world with excellent quality for hides, skulls, shells, and amazing gifts for friends and family or even your household. You can find them at AtlanticCoralEnterprise.com. RM Custom Called, multiple world championships from Main Street to Live Duck. American made, veteran owned. When you want to win on the stage or in the blind, we have you covered. Small shop, big sound. You can find them at rmcustomcall.com or on Instagram. We also have Rhino Land Safaris, providing exceptional quality with unmatched hospitality and cuisine, offering African safaris, a destination hunt for the avid rifle or bow hunter with some of the best trophy management South Africa has to offer. You can find them at rhinoland.co.za or on Facebook, Instagram.
Hey everyone, Andy Lehman here from ACC Crappie Sticks. Just want to let you know about our crappie baits and jig heads. We have a wide selection of the hottest colors and big eye crappie jig heads in the most popular colors and sizes. Check them all out at accrappiesticks.com. Thank you.
Welcome back to Season 2 Women of the Wild podcast. I'm your host, Felicia Marie, and we have had a great year this year for 2024. We have a lot of really great things coming up with our Women of the Wild calendar submissions starting on June 1st. So ladies, if you're interested in being showcased for a woman in the outdoors, get your submissions in on the Women of the Wild website. We also have the 2025 cookbook coming up. So if you have recipes that you want to share with other like-minded women of what you're doing in the outdoors, we'd love to have it. Whether it's gardening, fishing, hunting, we just want to promote women in the outdoors and teach other women how to utilize a harvest. So really excited. We also have other great things coming up too. We have this podcast that we have started this going weekly, and for the 2024 year, we've had a lot of spectacular guests. One that I'm in particularly extremely excited for is a girl here from my home state, Michigan. So I'd like to introduce Rena Spears. Rena, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to have you on. We've done a hunt together. You are like seriously one of the sweetest women I've ever met. And you are out just crushing the outdoors, out there hunting and doing your photography. And it's incredible to watch you go and grow. So I'd love to start this off by just having you introduce who you are and how you got into the outdoors.
All right. So I have actually got into the outdoors. I was 14, and my grandpa and my uncle got me into deer hunting. And then about a few years later after that, I think I was 18 or 17, getting out of high school, and one of my girlfriends said, "Hey, you want to come waterfowl hunting?" I said, sure, why not? So then I ended up finding my new love for waterfowl hunting, and ever since then, it's kind of became my addiction. So it's pretty much the number one type of hunting that I love to do. I am chasing my 41 North American species right now, and I have 7 left on the list, which I'm looking forward to, and hopefully hopefully I'll have those done by the end of this year because I'd like to start getting more into big game. I've done big game U.S. wide and hopefully internationally within the next few years. And I also, from transitioning over from hunting, I found a love for photography and videography. And over the last 8 years, I started my company at 20 or 21. I have loved working with outfitters, charters, hunters, and any type of outdoor businesses. And it has really taken me to places that I've never expected to go. And also has introduced me to so many awesome and amazing people that I never expected to become my good friends too at the same time. And like you said, I met you a couple of years ago from hunting, and it's awesome to see the organization that you have put together, the podcast, what you do for women. So it's just amazing how it's connected everyone to what we pretty much love to do, you know?
Absolutely. I think that's like the biggest accomplishment in all of this is the connections that you make in the outdoors through other like-minded women and meeting people like you and I meeting. And it was kind of funny because we met and then I found out that we aren't that far apart. Like you grew up, right? Like I think I have family members that you're pretty close with, and it was funny to find that out because it just goes to show, like, for the women that are out there who think that you don't have people in your community that are close to you that have that like-minded outdoors desire, passion, it just goes to show they're there. It just might take a little bit of legwork to find them, and things like Women of the Wild and many other women's organizations, that's what it's doing. It's becoming that binder for you to be able to find these women that are local to you and have these kinships that you can grow and go do things together with. And it's pretty spectacular.
It really is. It's just been crazy too, because like you said, when you're trying to find the like-minded people and also women who do the same thing, you feel like it's hard. And then later on down the road, really social media and connecting and putting hunts together for other women, it's just a really nice way to be able to connect and also have friendships through that as well. And then you kind of find your niche of people that, okay, I like to travel, I like to stay home, but I like to hunt this and you like to hunt this. So you always have your groups out of that too. And it's nice because everybody supports each other too through it.
Yes, absolutely. It's so fun to find those friendships. And throughout the last several years of getting in the outdoors and then social media kind of putting it in the forefront, and it's been a really great way to connect with people and even just watch other people's stories and get inspiration from that. I feel like as women, we often find our inspiration within other women. So we see a woman doing something, we get excited that they did it, but we also are like, man, if they did it, I kind of want to try it. And I feel like with you, especially, you're out doing all of these incredible things that I feel that it is such an inspiration to women, for women like you, to be getting on social media and sharing what you're doing and show the nitty gritty and how hard it can be. I mean, you've done trips all over the place. Like watching your journey from going up to Alaska, down to Texas, out west, like you're all over the place. You're hitting the East Coast. Have there been any states that you haven't been to yet?
There is, I think there's about 9 left I have not been to. And really, it's the Georgia, South Carolina, a little bit more of the warmer states, and then also in the New England area. I still have to check off a couple there, but it's hard to also travel. I do want to go sightsee and go see the places, but while you're sightseeing, you also want to try to fit a hunt in as well. So there are a couple places that I do need to check off, but I'm hoping within time. My goal was to get everything checked off by 30, but I don't know if we're going to be able to make it this year.
I think you'll get there.
So.
You are a very determined woman, and I think that if you set your mind to it, you'll get it done. I'm really excited. I've been following your journey on getting your Waterfowl Grand Slam, and you have done just like you hit the ground running with waterfowl, and you've done your king eiders, you've done like your harlequins. So what are some of your favorite birds that you've done?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the King Eiders was number one. I think all of it, the experience, the people around, just hunting them in general. It's one of the it is the toughest hunt I've ever been on, to be honest with you. And that was with King Eider Adventures with Jeremy Ullman, and he is a great guy and he knows what he's doing. And it was just incredible to see the guys work on top of it, and just how they want you to get your birds. Like they're excited for you, but at the same time they know what can happen. Like you can get seasick, you can instead of hitting the bird, you'll hit the water because there's 10 to 15 foot swells. Like it's crazy, and you're on these small zodiacs, and you think to yourself, okay, you know what, it's gonna be a nice hunt, it's gonna be a fun hunt, it's probably gonna be challenging, but then you realize how challenging it is, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is extreme, but it was so fun, and it made me not nervous, but it made you excited, like that little kid feeling again, like this is dangerous as heck, I'm so excited, let's go do it again.
Yeah, not to mention the freezing temperatures.
Oh yeah, no, it was cold. I don't even remember. So just with the wind chill alone, because I think it was like 20 degrees, but we were having anywhere from 30 to 40 mile an hour wind some days, and it was still pretty tough to get on the water and hunt with that too. But it just froze you. I saw the guys, their beards were just frozen. My hair was frozen. My eyebrows, you could see water that froze on them. It was crazy, but it was just one of the best hunts ever. And then, GoldenEye as well. I was over in Washington, and my buddies from Toxic Calls, they ended up having us come out, and we were actually on puddlers. And my buddy Sean said, hey, you know what? You want to go try to do divers? I said, are there goldeneye? He said, yep. I said, I still need to get mine. So we ended up shooting a goldeneye out there. I looked like a little girl. This was last year. I was jumping up and down in these big old waders. But that was probably one of the best hunts because that was one of my favorite birds. And my next one is a Barrow's goldeneye. That's like my first number one bird that I really want after I got my common goldeneye. So I'm really looking forward to that this season, and hopefully we can get it done. But yeah, those two hunts were very memorable, and I just love those two birds. We went last year to go try to kill a Pacific, but unfortunately I didn't have any luck. But my buddy who got his Pacific, he was astounded, so happy, and I just couldn't be any more happier for him because I know how much that bird meant to him too. So
that's awesome. So what are the birds you have left to get this year?
So I have, oh God, okay, let me think of this. I have to get my sandhill. I have to get my cinnamon teal. We went a couple years ago. Cinnamon teal are super tough.
Yeah.
To say the least. When I get my bird, I'll let you guys know who I go to because it is so tough. And then I have black duck, which is crazy because we're from Michigan, so you think
right.
Black duck would be a little bit easier, but it's definitely not for where I'm at. Like you maybe get a few coming in here and there, but I think I'm gonna have to travel to the East Coast to try to get a nice fully plumed one because I would like to mount it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have, oh God, what is it? Fulvis, mottled, and black-bellied. So I have those three in Florida. And then I think Barrows. So I have the 7 left.
That's awesome.
Hopefully we can get it done in a season, but I have a feeling it's hard. Like it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be before I'm 30, but we'll try to knock it before I'm 30, but we'll see.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, the cinnamon teal that's one of those birds aside from the king eider that is always up on anybody's waterfowl list. And I'm actually a little bit shocked that you haven't done cranes yet. That is a really fun hunt. You've never hunted them before?
No, so unfortunately, I was supposed to go down there 2 years ago, and I ended up getting sick the morning of my flight. And I told all my buddies, there was about 12 of us going down there, I said, I can't make it. And of course, you got your buddies in your ear going like, oh, come on, don't be a wuss. you just kind of come on and down and we'll be fine. You'll have a good time. I'm like, no, I'm not sitting in the blind feeling sick. I said, I'm done. So I unfortunately had to miss out on that. So we're going this year in December in Texas. And we got another group of 12 or 14 this time going. And I have tasted sandhill, and they are amazing, to say the least.
Yeah. Sandhill cranes are, I mean, they definitely hold up to the hype, right? Like the ribeye of the sky, they're spectacular. We do an annual hunt. We have another one coming up this year in December that we take a group of women down for. But we teach them like taking, not just breasting a bird, but like taking the legs, taking the heart. Sandhill crane hearts are one of my absolute favorites. They're like little meat nuggets that just make your heart happy.
Really?
Yes,
I
Sandhill
don't-
crane hearts are good.
Huh. Okay, I'm going to have to tell the guys we're going to have to take some of the hearts home. 'Cause that
Yeah,
would
so
sound- Alright.
sorry.
Oh, go
We
on.
do we breast them out. We take the legs. The legs have like a tendon in them, but you can pull it out. I use a fork and a pair of pliers, and I just grab that tendon. I put the fork against the meat, grab a pair of pliers, and then just twist the tendon out of the meat, and then slow cook them.
Oh, yeah.
Super good. And then the hearts, I actually do like a egg base and bread them, and then I just do a pan sear on them. And they're
Oh,
so
wow. Oh,
Really.
my goodness.
good.
Yeah.
Got you more
I'm
excited.
going to take that home now. That sounds good.
It's very
I'm gonna
good.
make
So
the
you'll
guys
have to
just-
try it.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it. Yeah, because I thought just alone with the breast meat, it was really good. But I've only had, I think it was dove heart before or pigeon heart before. I don't remember which one, but that was pretty good. And I'm not especially with the animals, I'm not a big liver person. It takes me a little bit to like all of it or to try it, but I could definitely see the heart of the sandhill tasting a lot better.
Yeah, the heart of most animals is typically my favorite, and it's usually the first cut that I go for.
Really?
And I
Oh,
actually, the sandhill crane, like, didn't hear it from anybody, didn't have an inspiration by anything. I was like, you know what? If I like the heart and everything else, it was just habit to take the heart. And
Yeah.
I just winged it of how I would do like other hearts that I've cooked. But I did it on a much smaller scale, almost like chicken nugget size, and found this recipe that I just kind of concoctions in my kitchen, and it has been one of my absolute favorites. So I share that with the girls every time we go down. And I'll be like, do you guys want your hearts? Because if not, we'll bag them up and divvy them up between everybody that wants them. We'll go in and take gizzards and everything.
Oh my gosh. All right. No, when I go down there, I'll get a hold of you too and ask you about other recipes because I'll definitely cook something like that up down there. Because it's nice to be able to utilize all of the animal if you can.
Absolutely. That's kind of the whole reason why Women of the Wild, we started that cookbook. We're on our volume 3, so that we have volume 1 and volume 2 that have came out. But this year we're working on volume 3, and it's recipes like that from things that people wouldn't necessarily think they'd want to eat. I mean, we had a girl that did like pulled groundhog sandwiches, and it was like,
wow.
I've never wanted to eat a groundhog in my life until I saw that recipe. And I'm like, yep, I need to do it.
Yeah, let me know because we got to take out a couple at the house. So that would be nice.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So
Oh
are
my
you going to
goodness.
try to do your teal while you're down, or your cinnamon while you're down there?
No, so what my idea would hopefully be is either to head back down to Arizona and try to go for cinnamon again or go to California. I've heard a couple people from Michigan say that they went to California. So I'm probably going to target those areas and I'm going to try to do for January at the end. So then we are to get a fully plumaged one because so not only do I try to just target them as well, I always try to go down there in January at the end of the season so we can get the best fully plumaged bird that you could get because I definitely love it and enjoy looking at my mounts consistently, and it's just nice to know and look back at the memories just looking at your mounts. You really do kind of walk into the room and you're just appreciative of the time that you spent with friends and the experience you had, and then also the bird that you were able to knock off your list. So
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just got a call from St. Clair Flats Taxidermy that my son's first pintail is done, and he shot it in February in Arkansas in flooded rice fields out on a hunt with us. It's not this past season, but the season before. And I told him this morning that his pintail's done, and he's like, "Really?" It's so just so excited. And like,
oh,
you're absolutely spot on. Like having those mounts in your home, it commemorates the entire hunt, and it like almost brings you back to it a lot of times when it's like taxidermy is one of those things that people you either love it or you hate it, but to me it's an art and it's a way to preserve a memory. And I don't know, I just when it comes to taxidermy, I love having it around. And now have you mounted all of your birds that you've done for your 41, or do you only mount certain ones?
so I mount whatever ones that I think that are going to be wall worthy, I guess I should say, that aren't too beat up, or if they still have a pin feather or two. I like to make sure that I have it as full as I can get it, really. But there's been some species that I've shot, and I wanted to mount them just because I was so excited, because it was my first bird that I was or the first species that I knocked off. So I got really excited, and then my buddies were like, okay, well, it still has this pin feather. It's still not fully plumaged over here. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'll wait in time and go back and go get those again. But I do have, God, I think I have almost 20 mounted, and then I have probably 12 in the freezer.
So
Yeah,
a good fair share of them got mounted.
Yeah, exactly. And then some of them are the drakes and the hen. So it's like you get one of them, and you're like, okay, I kind of want the hen with this one because it's really pretty, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I
it's
love
kind
those
of
mounts.
hard. They're
Absolutely, yeah.
beautiful. And like you said, with your son, he'll always go back and remember those times. And you want to have a good taxidermist too, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I spent $200 and I got this," and it's not what they imagine it to be. It's not as vibrant. Like the head's different. Well, people got to understand too. You're gonna get for what you pay for, and it's hard because you want to see your mount come back to life. And I personally go through a guy up on Ford Road. His name's Birdman, and I love him. Like, he's just an older guy, biker dude. It's just so relaxed and so chill, and you'd never expect him to have, like, these beautiful mounts everywhere. And I just walked into his facility, and I said, oh, my God, they look like they came back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely pay more because it's going to be everything that you expect it to be, you know? And it's hard for me to pay a lower amount because I always want it's the quality, you know? So
Absolutely.
I always say to people, like, if they're not, or if they're unhappy and stuff, I said, make sure you go to somebody who knows what you're looking for, knows the extent of what you want it to look like. And I think it's very important. Same thing with deer mounts. Like, I know that it's expensive, and I know it's not something that you want to pay for all the time, but if you want good quality and you want to be happy with the ending product, you got to go to somebody who's going to be able to put that back together for you and make your memories come back to life. So.
Absolutely. Like I use Darren with St. Clair Flats Taxidermy, and they do it like they have people that specialize in certain things. So Nick has done a lot of my birds, but the one thing that I look for in a taxidermist is someone that can play out my vision. I'm very particular with my taxidermy, and I like to recreate not just the animal being mounted, but like you said, back to life, but also like a scene. Like I just had a wood duck, a drake and a hen flying off a wood duck box with a raccoon digging into it, and we brought it to one of the shows, and it was like a showstopper. People were coming from across the show to come look at this mount. And I mean, we had a replica rhino in the booth, and people were coming to look at a raccoon with a couple wood ducks because it was that spectacular. And it's, to me, that's the neat part, is replaying those scenes out and finding a taxidermist that just gets your vision. So, and not every, like, just because that's the taxidermist I have, my vision could be different from yours. So I do think it's important for people to find the right person that meshes with what their idea is in their head. Because at the end of the day, we have this expectation that we build up in our heads. And then if we get it, we can be like, oh man, I kind of wish this would have been different. So just make sure that you're make sure that if you are getting birds mounted or anything, whitetail, make sure that if you have an expectation, you communicate it. That's the biggest thing with taxidermy.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Because you don't want to go to the taxidermist and say, okay, well, this is kind of how I want it. Could you just help me with this? Like, go online and go look at the pictures and look at other people's work and maybe print out a picture. If your taxidermist is old school and doesn't like text messages and emails and all that, just print out a picture and just give it to them and say, hey, like, this is what I like. I think this would be awesome. Or like draw it. Like, I've even drawn my pictures before to taxidermists. I'm like, hey, like, this is what I would like. I would like for the head, the feet, everything, water, all that, and that gives them an idea, so then they are able to provide what you exactly want, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Turning that vision into reality. The more more communication you have, the better. And I love the idea of like drawing it out or printing the photo, because I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. Is they kind of like get on, Pinterest, Instagram, whatever, and they start looking and they look at like one, they get stuck on it, they get it mounted that way, but then they see something another time. Like, really do your research, and especially like any type of hunting. If you want something done, like when I take people to Africa, I tell them you need to do your research on the animals you want to shoot and how you want them mounted, because we have to know how to skin them. So even things like that, do your research before you even have that targeted species. If you know you're going after it, start looking at things like that if you know you're going to mount it.
Yep, I agree with you 100% on that.
But we are going to jump to a quick commercial break to hear from our sponsors, and we're going to come right back to this conversation because we have your photography company that I would love to dig into with you.
Oh, sounds great. Yeah, no, I'm excited.
So we'll be right back after hearing from our sponsors.
Share your love of the outdoors with your little ones through the exciting adventures in Dr. Josh Farr's children's books. As an avid sportsman, Dr. Josh Farr has taken his passion for the outdoors and uses his vivid storytelling to teach valuable lessons and appreciation of the world. Learn the alphabet through the ABCs of hunting. Find joy in exploring the outdoors with Let's Go Out and Play and more. You and your child will love learning about nature with Dr. Josh Farr. See all of his books now at drjoshfarr.com. That's drjoshfarr.com.
Weeby Knives, a brand of skinning, fleshing, and butchering knives perfect for the hunters, trappers, and fishermen, with a unique high-quality knife for animals of all shapes and sizes. You can find them and more information at weebyknives.com or on Facebook, Instagram. Stonehouse Digital Consulting. Elevate your small business with Stonehouse's expert marketing solutions. Ignite your online presence and thrive with a tailored strategy to drive your growth. You can find them and more information at stonehousedigitalconsulting.com or on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Livingston County Pheasants Forever, Chapter 465, with a mission to conserve pheasant, quail, and other wildlife through habitat improvements, public access, education, and conservation. You can contribute by joining the meetings on the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. at the Howell American Legion Hall on the corner of M59 and Grand River. For more information and to get involved, you can find them at pf465.com or on Facebook, Instagram. Dreamcatcher Charters, a Michigan-based guide service for walleye, sturgeon, and duck hunting, with a passion that drives their success, sharing the phenomenal Michigan waterways with everyone. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram. Feather Moon Outdoors, offering calls made from select materials. Every pot is fine-tuned in the house using the highest quality materials available. Also offering diaphragm, slate, glass, grunt calls, and more. For more information, you can find them at feathermoonoutdoors.com or on Facebook, Instagram. Stay tuned, more podcasts to come. Welcome back. We are here with Rena Spears from Michigan, and we are we just dove into quite a slew of things, right? Like how you got into the outdoors, your waterfowl slam, your traveling. We kind of dove into taxidermy there. But one thing that you kind of mentioned in the beginning of this is that you have a photography business, and in that you are capturing so many incredible moments in the outdoors. And I would love for you to dive into what the name of your photography business is, but also how it got started and what you're doing.
So my company is Country's Innovation Nation, but I go by SIN, so CIN. I actually got started with it about, Lord, how long is that? 8 years, a little bit over 8 years now. And I pretty much started one day. I've always loved photography, and I've always loved the outdoors. So I kind of told myself I want to start working with outfitters or people in the outdoor world and start capturing those memories and those moments for them, and also being able to give back and so they could utilize that for their promotional services, for social media, for websites. And I really just picked up a camera that 8 years ago, and I just started practicing with it consistently, watching YouTube. I mean, YouTube college, everybody's going to that now. So I just taught myself so much, and I also had help along the way from other photographers as well. And I just reached out and said, hey, how do you do this? How did you guys get started in this? And I ended up going downstate to go for a snow goose hunt. And on my way down for a snow goose hunt, an outfitter got a hold of me, and he's like, hey, do you do photography and videography? And I said, yeah, I just kind of started. And he's like, well, and I told him I'm not taking any money right now because I'm just getting started with it. And he's like, well, why don't you guys come down? I'll house you, feed you, and we can go hunt. And I said, what in the world? And come to find out, it was an outfitter down in Missouri who's super established and just a well-known guide as well. And I said, sure, why not? And me and my boyfriend at the time, we just kind of headed south, and before we went to Snow Goose, helped down there to go to the Snow Goose guide, and then also we went to go hunt down there too. But before we did that, we went to Boot Heel of Missouri, and kind of showed up at his place, at his lodge. His lodge is beautiful. My mouth is dropping. I was just like, okay, act professional. Just act like you know what you're doing. At the time, I know how to work a camera a little bit, but you really don't know everything until you dive in and you get used to it. You do it. And, I mean, coming back now, looking at it, I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe I did that. But it's gotten me to where I'm at today. You got to put your foot in the door somehow. So, great guy we ended up working with, and just so humble, and I'm still friends with him till this day. And he always welcomes me back down, and they do timber hunts down on the borderline of Missouri and Arkansas. So it was a unique hunt. I've never done it before. It's kind of when I first started traveling all over to hunt, and I put a video together for him, some photos together for him. He loved it, and I said, you know what, I appreciate it. I said, thank you so much. Even to this day, I'm like, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I said, I wouldn't be here today without your help, and it was a great experience. And ever since then, it just kind of year after year, it took off, started making money a couple years later, and then just really got to learn my camera more than anything. Even if you're not on hunts or you're not traveling, just to utilize your camera being at home, go take pictures of wildlife, get familiar with the settings for video work. It's honestly, it's a big learning curve, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, photography is something that I feel is starting to become a lot more predominant in the outdoors, that you're seeing a lot more photographers and videographers. And for someone that's never picked up a professional camera, the settings can be very intimidating. So what was I know you said you like YouTube college, which you are spot on. That's pretty much how everybody gets a start in something new, right? But what are some tips that you could give to somebody that is wanting to get into photography or videography as far as like learning? Like, what are some of those tips of, aside from like just taking out and figuring it out, are there any tips that you could give someone?
So I would say the main tips for photography is learning how to shoot manual. So learning your aperture, your shutter speed, and your ISO. That really helps me take off in photography and learning those settings. And then after then, things came easier once I started practicing with them. Because if you overexpose something, your highlights can be blown out. If you underexpose something, you're not going to be able to collect all that information that's in your raw footage. So it's really learning those three main manual tools for photography. And then also for videography, when you start using S-Log, C-Log, all of the color or all of the settings that you need to be able to color grade in post-production, like Premiere Pro, DaVinci, you're going to want to learn the settings in that as well. And you want to learn how to underexpose, overexpose, or what you need to do in order to get that color correction and color grading correct. So, and there's a lot to it, but also once you get used to it, and like anything else, once you get familiar with it, you'll learn it so quick. So, and everybody has their own style and their own niche too. Like, I know that everybody has so many different edits and color grades, and I would say be unique, do what you love, do what makes you feel happy, because everybody's different, everybody's unique in their own way. And also when clients see your work, you will stand out to other people as well. You never want to have the same exact as somebody else, but you also want to be able to learn how to do everything correctly too.
Absolutely. That's really good advice. What are some of the like things that you've gotten to go photography or videography for that really stand out as like unique to you?
I think big game has been probably the most unique. I started off with mainly waterfowl, and then within the last 4 or 5 years, I started doing big game. And I think it's more unique in a way too, because you have to bring, so you can't just go into a waterfowl blind and bring some equipment and then you're done for the day, and then you can kind of go walk around, do the lodging scenes, and you'll have your equipment on you the entire time. So when it comes to big game, you have to bring more of a backpack instead of a shell bag, and you have to lug around more. So it's more of a challenge as well when it comes to big game, and it's interesting and it's fun because you don't have the ducks right in your face. You got to go find and go chase what you're after too. Mm-hmm. So it's just more of a challenge, and I love challenging aspects of photography and videography.
What is one of your favorite animals that you've gotten to get a photo of?
Oh God, I love them all. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie, it's not really the wildlife as much. I do like the out west animals. I like the moose. I love the elk. But to be honest with you, I love to capture dogs working. So yes. When I get to see them working with pheasants, waterfowl, anything like that, I absolutely love the scenes, because each dog is different. Each dog has a different personality, and that all the owners have worked with them differently. And I think you get better lighting scenes too with them as well. And you can get them in the water, you can get them in the field, you can get them in the blind, and I think it's just fun that way. Also, you can get them on layout boats, or not layout boats, but the Banks boats. If anybody brings out their dogs when we're on the ocean or on the Great Lakes, and they're just chilling on the Banks boat, or they're just chilling out in the water and hanging out and having a good old time going for a swim because it's too hot or too cold that day. I don't know.
Yeah, I think couldn't agree more. That working dogs, they're, first of all, they're fun to hunt behind. Anybody that's a hunter who hasn't hunted behind a working dog, you're missing out, because watching a dog work is spectacular, but capturing images of them working, and like some of the ones that you've captured are just like, you posted some recently, I think, that were it's so beautiful to watch. And like you said, that personality comes out in that photo. You almost get like the essence of that personality in that dog. But it's not like, because you do other photography too, like you do graduation photos, weddings, stuff like that as well, right?
Yes, yep. So I started doing that more the last 2-3 years because I love and I enjoy traveling, but I also enjoy being home a little bit more. I mean, I was on the road for 9 months out of the year and only home for 3. So I just kind of said, I might want to stay home a little bit and then go travel for outfitters, however many times throughout the season, or maybe spread it out. And it's been nice because I've actually had time to enjoy myself and my personal life, and just it's a little bit more relaxing.
Yeah, but like the reason why I brought that up is because you have these like dogs that you're out taking photos of. It's not as easy as like, hey, smile, look that way, look this way. Like you can't control it. So I feel like there's more of like an organic creativity behind capturing a good dog photo, because you might take 100 photos and only one of them turn out good. Like they could be, sticking their tongue out or doing something funny with their face or not looking the right way.
Yeah.
And there's not really a way to control it. So I think that there's like a whole new creative aspect to photos of a working dog. And I've said that often, like with my photography business, if I could just do working dogs, I would do that all day long. It's a passion.
Gosh. Yeah.
It's one of the best.
It is. And to see the owners with their dogs and the way that they work together, it's something you don't see every single day. And to see the amount of work that they put into them and the obedience and the listening, and it's incredible to see them do what they do out in the field.
Yes. So what would you say is like your favorite photo? Because photographers often have like a photo that like they have framed in their house, and I'm sure you might have more than one, but like what is like one of your favorite photos that you've ever taken, whether it's animal, whether it's scenes, whether it's of people? Which one do you have one that specific that stands out to you that would be your favorite?
Oh yeah, I got one. So it's actually not a hunting photo. It was a trip with me and my girlfriend out to Montana, and we ended up coming back from a large hike, or a big hike. I think it was not a big hike, but like a 7-mile hike. And I had my camera with me, and we were getting to the end of it, coming back to the truck, and I look out and I see Grinnell Glacier out in Montana. It's either in Glacier National or it's on the outside of it, but I know it's on the west side. And it was just perfect lighting. The greenery was beautiful. The river was perfect. The sun going behind the mountain with the white caps on the mountain. It was phenomenal. And it's just my go-to photo that I will have framed in my house at some point. I just haven't got to it yet. But I took that about 3 years ago, and I think that is just my favorite photo. It's very peaceful, and I love out west. So it kind of relates to what I love too. But I would say that one, and then there's another one that I love too. I don't know if I'm going to frame it just because it's not my dog, but I have a photo of my buddy's dog. It's a black lab, and I'm obsessed with black labs. And he's jumping through the water, and he's got a greater snow goose in his mouth. Oh my God, I didn't even realize how big graders are compared to lesser snow geese, but I'll get back to that later. But so he's got that in his mouth, and he's just running through the water, and the lighting is perfect. There's a shell behind him in the water, and it's just, I don't know, it's just an epic scene, and I have that one on my Instagram too. But those 2 photos will probably always be my favorite until I probably do more of the international part, and then I'm going to go wander off somewhere in the woods and go find something cool.
No, I love that. The scenery photos are, you're right, they're very peaceful. You find this serenity in them, and it like having that in your home, like when you finally do get it printed and put up in your house, it's something that you can look back and just have that peace, right? Like it's something that you can always go back to. And I think that with the photography, you're capturing so much because you go out and you capture moments on a hunt, you capture videos throughout a hunt. You do all of these things with these outfitters, but out on these hunts where you're capturing things Like one of my favorite pheasant photos is one that was taken by you. It's on my Instagram, where I'm just walking up and you snapped a photo. Nobody even knew you were doing it or even knew you were behind us yet. And it's spectacular, but it's also a really great way to commemorate a hunt. So if there's ever anybody, whether you're going on a hunt and you know, you're taking somebody with you and it's this, you want it to be this memorable experience, having someone out there to capture those moments is a really great way to come back. And I mean, as humans, our memories start to slip. So eventually, as you get older, having those photos to go back and look at them, it brings back those memories. And it, to me, that there's a few hunts I do every year that I make sure that I have a photographer there, or at least my camera or somebody doing some video, because I like to go back and relive those moments. Because like I took my dad to South Africa with me, and he had never hunted in my lifetime, and we had a videographer with us. And I at that point, this was a few years ago now, at that point I didn't realize how capturing a hunt could be so memorable. Like I always was like, well, we're going to have the memory, you know, but having that
Yeah.
videographer there, it captured his first harvest in my entire lifetime, which was a sable. But like catching every moment of it and the celebration of it, and then afterwards on top of the mountain with the sunset and the champagne and celebrating, I can now go back and like I don't necessarily think about it until I go back and watch the video, and then I remember things and I get to rewatch it and relive it. So for outfitters that want to commemorate a hunt, or if you're putting a hunt together and you want it, you know, for people to be able to remember this for years to come, getting a hold of somebody like Rena is exactly what you should do, because you're going to be able to instill that memory for so much longer and for generations to come with something like that. But then you have your guides and your outfitters that you're working with, where you're using it for promotional material, but the quality that you're putting out is what makes it stand out. Like you said, you have your own uniqueness with it. And it's very unique. Well, you can get as weird with it as you want to. You can get as professional with it as you want to. You just got to find what works for you and run with it. Do you have, what would you say is like your one like uniqueness about you that you feel that you bring to the table different than anyone else?
So I am definitely not a person that likes anything. How would I explain it? I don't want anything written. I don't want you to feel like you have to pose. I'm a very natural photographer. I don't like any of that stuff, to be honest with you. That's why I'm not huge into I guess how would I say it? Just not faking it, but a written script. I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't want to see it. Like you don't. I tell my outfitters, I tell my hunters, I tell everybody right when I'm there, I'm saying, hey, don't even act like I'm here. Don't even think that I'm here. I said, I'm going to be away from you. I can be close to you, but I just want you to be in your moment. I want you to feel like I am just another person that's coming in with the crew. And I don't want you to feel like I'm a photographer. Just look at me like one of the guys is what I always say, even though, I mean, I get nicknames all the time. I get like Frank, Reggie, that's my name. But they always name me one of the guys. So I always say, just do you. And I love it because I've seen, not that I love to see people cry, but it's a happy cry when they get to harvest an animal that they have, it's been on their bucket list. Or I get to capture those memories of a son and a daughter, or a son and a father, or a mother even with their kids. Like I get to be able to capture that, people's first harvests, people's first hunts ever, even if they didn't get anything. It's like, I love that aspect of it. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to pose, you have to position any way differently. Like if you ask me, hey, I'm here for it. But other than that, it's as natural as it can get. You do everything that you do naturally when you're on a hunt by yourself with somebody else, and I stay out of the way. I like to make sure that you guys are comfortable with everything you do.
Absolutely. And I think that it captures more of that raw moment. It's not staged, it's not fake. This is real and raw, and it's beautiful work. We do have to cut to another commercial break to hear from our ending sponsors, but we do have a little bit more to dive into when we come back. And now to the final segment to this week's episode of Women of the Wild podcast. We will conclude this segment by thanking our closing sponsors. Stay tuned for more of this week's episode after this short word from our sponsors. Muzzy Pheasant Farms, a mid-Michigan family-owned and operated pheasant game preserve that is open year-round. Muzzy offers educational courses and hunts. They are family-oriented, creating a great opportunity for new and seasoned upland hunters. With no membership required, come hunt with Muzzy Pheasant Farms. You can find more information at muzzypheasantfarms.com or check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Blast and Cast Guide Service is a veteran-owned and operated Michigan-based guide service for the Great Lakes. With decades of experience of fishing and waterfowl, they ensure a safe and enjoyable trip every time. You can check them out at blastandcastguideservice.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Ultimate Veteran Adventures. UVA offers outdoor therapy, recreation, and camaraderie through hunting and fishing adventures around the country for veterans, active duty military, Gold Star families, and first responders. You can find them at ultimateveteranadventures.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Sawmill Creek Bait and Lures, a husband and wife owned and operated company, the home of the C4, one of the best trapping canine lures on the market. You can find them at sawmillcreekbaitandlures.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Wicked 7 Outdoors, a Southwest Texas outfitter guide service with an exceptional care and quality of backcountry mountain hunts for free-range aoudad. Also offering high fence and low fence exotics, come immerse yourself in the outdoor experience. You can find Wicked 7 Outdoors on Facebook and Instagram. Misguided Outdoors is a female-driven Michigan-based guide service offering turkey and waterfowl hunts. Misguided is focused on educating women and youth, providing a hands-on hunt experience for all ages. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. We thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Welcome back. So we have just dove into Sin, which is Rena's photography business, videography, and if you haven't checked out her work, you have to check her out on Instagram, Facebook. And we'll put those plugs in and we'll put those links in the bio. But one thing that we've kind of touched on in each segment of this podcast is something that I'd like to circle back to. With all of your traveling in the U.S., you kind of dropped in a couple little hints there about going international. Do you have plans in the next few years to go international and to chase big game, waterfowl, anything like that internationally?
I do, actually. So my goal was after I turned 30, I would start traveling internationally for waterfowl and big game. So I do have a couple in mind, but I can't say anything yet because I'm a very superstitious person, I guess I should say. So I like to have everything before. I don't usually say anything about my trips until after I get home from them. And I also like to make it a surprise as well. But I am excited about that, and then also having work lined up too for international, which is on the list as well.
Do you have any places that you, and if you can't say them, don't feel obligated to, but do you have any places that are like an absolute bucket list for you?
Yes, actually, I have a couple. So I have always wanted to go to New Zealand, and I love Australia, but I would love to go to Australia, I should say. But I did hear that there's so many animals over there that can actually hurt you, so I'm a little bit nervous. But at the same time, it's an experience. I want to go visit there and go see it. I would love to go to Mongolia, Azerbaijan, and eventually South Africa as well. So those are definitely something I would be interested in time, and I think that they would be amazing experiences, especially to meet the people out there, to see the culture, and to do something different that I've never done before.
Yes. Yeah. When you start traveling internationally, it's literally a whole new world, and it's like uncharted for like the sunrises, sunsets, for just the culture, the cuisine, the hospitality. It's different than what we are serviced here with. So I'm really excited to see where you go and grow with that. Are there any target species that you're looking to get when you start traveling internationally? Like that would be a bucket list?
Yeah, I have a couple. I would love to do, so there's a couple in the duck species that I want to get, and then also big game. I would like to do roebuck. I would like to do kudu, especially kudu. I think they're beautiful. And then red stag.
I
So
feel
those
like
are the top ones.
absolutely. I feel like anybody that's a hunter, red stag is like typically always on the bucket list, right? Like,
100%.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's not very many hunters that don't know what a red stag is or that don't want to hunt one. So it's funny you say that because I feel like that's one of my bucket lists too. Like they're just such a marvelous creature that I feel hit like the check mark for so many people. And the kudu absolutely couldn't agree more. I've been blessed enough to have one. But I would hunt one again in a heartbeat. They're such a spectacular hunt, but they're just such majestic creatures, and they call them
Yes.
the gray ghost for a reason. Like they can be hard to see. Like they're hard to hunt, but they're it's it was a life-changing hunt for me to hunt kudu. So I'm excited to see you eventually get to that.
Yeah, I could believe it, especially because you got to share that memory too with your father, and that would
Mhm.
be an amazing experience to go with people that you genuinely want to be there, care about, and to be able to see the culture and then or kill a kudu, and it's just it's an experience that you might only get once or twice in your life, and then if you're lucky, you'll get a few times in your lifetime to go shoot one. So it's definitely an experience that I'm looking forward to.
I can't wait to see that for you. I can't wait to see your international travels. I don't want to pull and pry too much at it because I definitely don't want to expose what you have coming up. But I do really look forward to seeing what you do. You are doing an amazing job here in the States, and I can't even imagine what you'll do once you do start traveling internationally. Hopefully finish checking off your 41 and your last couple states here and venture out into the world and check out all of that and come back and share it with all of us. I know that our podcast, we might have ran over a little bit, but we have something with Women of the Wild that we like to do, and we like to ask women if they have any tips or inspiration that they can share with other women. What would be like your go-to tip or quote or just inspiration that you could share with someone?
So I would say when you're feeling nervous about something or you feel hesitant to do anything or go about it or become this new person that you've always wanted to become, I say just go out and do it. Figure out ways to just be that confident, inspirational person. You have nothing to lose. People come to me and they're afraid or they're scared to do something new, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, you just got to do it. Like I said earlier, put your foot through the door, go ask for advice, go ask for help. If you don't feel like you're up to it or anything, like start working on yourself, start telling yourself good things about yourself and telling yourself, hey, you know what, I got this. I can go ahead, I can go travel, I can do this, I am doing this, and like just put good positive thoughts into your head. And no matter what, if it doesn't work the first time, second time, or even hundredth time, if you want it, go do it, because you only get one life. And I've been very thankful to have mentors help me get through everything, and I've also been able to help people as well with the photography or just getting on their feet to learning new things. And I'm always here to help, and I don't want to see anybody ever just thinking to themselves like, I can't do this, or it knocks me down. I think you always just have to keep telling yourself, like, no matter what, I'm a badass, I'm gonna get this shit done, let's do it. Like, just raw, I'm gonna put it out there like that. You have to tell yourself you're gonna be the baddest person out there, you're gonna succeed no matter what comes your way. So always tell yourself positive things is the most important thing, and just do it. Just do whatever it is. What's that Nike saying? Is it just do it? It's literally just do it.
Yes, and I couldn't agree more. That's great information, like a great tip for people that are scared, leery of getting in the outdoors. And I love that you talk about building your own confidence. That is something that I feel women and youth often struggle with that. Men probably struggle with it quite a bit too, but I don't know if it's maybe vocalized as much. But for any woman that's listening to the podcast or anyone in general that's listening, if you feel that you're struggling to get out there, just remember that that confidence within yourself, that you can feel scared and you can feel uneasy about doing it, but as long as you want to do it, as long as you have that passion and that will, there's a way to get it done. And you just have to
Exactly.
find the way that works for you. So I love that piece. And I really have enjoyed speaking with you. I look forward to hopefully getting on another hunt together, because you are just a ball of energy and you're so much fun. Like when you say, be positive and have confidence, you are the embodiment of that, and it spreads. It's infectious to everyone around you. So I want to applaud you for
Well, I
that, because
appreciate that.
you're a lot of fun, and you're a very humble person, and I appreciate that. In our outdoors community, you have always been so kind, and I think that's, like, for me, that's always my biggest thing, is like we need to be more kind to one another, especially as outdoors men and
Yeah.
women, is supporting each other. And having hunters out there like yourself, who, it doesn't matter, like you're just excited for someone, like that's what
Yes.
we need in our outdoors community. So I want to say thank you for coming on, for taking the time out of your day to speak with us, for sharing your story, and just for being who you are, because you're a spectacular woman. And we want you to know that us as women of the wild, as outsiders looking in, we appreciate you, and you are such an inspiration.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. It means a lot, and I'm excited and happy that I could be on this show with you too, because you are also inspirational. You do a lot for women, and to see how much you have grown also within the last few years, it's been incredible. And I am always here to support it, and always here to help. And like, I want to say this to other people too, like females and males, like always ask for help. Like it's not, you're not going to learn anything overnight, and in order to get to anywhere you want to be, you're always going to have to ask for guidance and some type of loophole, just to always try to figure it out. Know that you're never alone, because me and Felicia didn't get here because we did it by ourselves. We always got to help, and we are so appreciative for everything that everyone has done to support us and get to where we're at today.
Absolutely. Definitely. Well, thank you for listening in to another episode of Women of the Wild podcast. You can find us on any platforms, Instagram, Facebook. But where can our listeners find you? Where can they find you? Where can they find you if they want photography done for their hunt or their outfit? Where on all social media platforms could someone find and connect with you?
So I have Instagram. It's Ren_Ren14, and then from there you can find out my Spears Productions page, which is more of my local work, and then also go to my Sin page, which is all of my hunter businesses, outdoors work as well. So you can catch me on there, and then also on Facebook.
Awesome. We will share those links to all of those platforms. So if you're listening to this podcast, you want to check it out, you definitely need to go follow Rena. You need to follow her videography, because it's spectacular. Go check it out and let us know what you think. Thank you, Rena, for coming on, and we look forward to seeing you out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate everything.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you have a good night.